Hi guys, and welcome back to the Ricky2ra podcast, episode 24, I believe. I'm sure it's 24. Yes, it is 24. Right, so we're back once again, and I've got a few things to talk about, okay? But first, I've got to be honest with you, it's a really dull day today, okay? We're going to go to a Weatherman Ricky section of the podcast that I normally do because it's been quite a frequent thing that I've been talking about before I start my topics. But yeah, man, it's a dull day here in the UK. It's wet and yeah, just it looks like it's going to be showers all week. Alright, can we stop that? Let's stop Weatherman Rick now. Okay, so thank you for tuning in once again. Just for the people that not suss this out yet, I do this weekly, my podcast. I don't know if I've ever actually said that before. So my podcasts come out every Wednesday, just on Spotify, Apple Music, etc. on podcast platforms, and then the actual video form will be out on my YouTube the day after, so every Thursday. So if there was some confusion from a couple of episodes ago, like the Life is Short one where I recorded it the week before and I said it was going to be uploaded on Wednesday, the so-and-so, I actually meant the audio form and then the video form would be on Thursday. I didn't actually make it clear when the video form would be out in that, so I apologise for that if there was any confusion for that. But yeah, so podcast form every Wednesday, video form every Thursday, and that's it every week. And now we're on the 24th episode, 25th episode next week. We're halfway to 50 nearly, just from next week, so I think we might have to do something special for the 50th. I may perhaps do something for the 30th episode. I haven't put any ideas down, but you know what, let's not look too far ahead for that. Let's talk about what the topics are going to be about today. So, you know that I'm a big superhero movie fan, okay? If you didn't know, well, now you know. So I'm going to be talking about my reaction to the WandaVision TV show trailer that just came out, I think yesterday or the day before. I'm going to be talking about Forgetting Magic. A bit vague, that title, but we'll get into it. And we'll get into Take Care, Drake's Take Care album. A bit random, but I'll explain why I have that down. And last but not least, we're going to get into digital magic. Okay, think of that as you will. We're going to get into that last. But let's jump straight in. I feel like I'm going to sneeze, you know. I don't know why, but when I hit the record button, I feel like I'm going to... Oh, man. Okay, let's keep composure here, okay? So, the first topic is the WandaVision reaction. So basically Wanda from aka Scarlet Witch from the Marvel movies, and Vision, who was in Infinity War. I think was that his last movie, Infinity War, I'm sure it was. Both superheroes, they've got their own TV show on Disney Plus. So the trailer just got released a couple of days ago, and it was actually pretty cool. You know what Marvel are like with their trailers. If you don't know, they kind of just leave you in suspense. Like, they're very clever with their trailers, so they put two parts together and make it look like it was all in one scene. And sometimes they edit things out anyway, so you have no idea until you actually watch the movie or TV show. But for this trailer, it was pretty cool. It didn't really give much away, but it looks like it's set in like different years. Like Wanda with her superpowers, it looks like she's changing all the years. So somehow, I don't know how, she's brought Vision back to life. Either that's from like an alternative reality or something like that, but she's brought him back to life. Spoilers, by the way. I'm not going to spoil what happens in a movie, but if you get what I'm saying, back to life or from a different alternate reality, I've somehow spoiled it, so apologies for that. This will be spoilers from previous movies. I won't mention the movies that I spoiled from, but I apologise if I have just spoiled something about Vision there. But yeah, so it seems like he's come either from an alternate reality or he's come back to life. I highly doubt he's come back to life, just because of what's happened in previous movies. But it looks like, yeah, she's controlling. I don't know if she's controlling him, because if she's got him back from an alternate reality, obviously he's his own person from somewhere else. So obviously, if you mess with the timeline that we found out from previous movies, bad things do tend to happen. So they didn't give much away of like the bad things, but I watched like a trailer reaction the other day, and it seems to be like one lady, I'm so bad at names and stuff like that, but it seems to be like one like antagonist in this TV show. They don't really show the actual like what she does, but I'm guessing that's the suspense that they leave you in. But yeah, I didn't really take much away from that trailer. I just took away that, you know, it's going to be set in different years. Like Wanda's going to be controlling all the years. Vision's just there, like he's trying to figure out what's going on, because I don't believe he knows that he's dead, like in another universe, or if he's come back. I don't even know if he knows that he's come from a different universe, if she's taken him from a different universe, if you know what I mean. So there's just basically, there's so many questions yet, but she is controlling like the reality around him that we've seen in the trailers as well. So he could be from an alternative timeline, but the thing that I want to know is, will we be seeing any like new characters, for example like X-Men characters in this? Now that's going to be the most exciting part, because technically Wanda is a mutant, and I believe Marvel couldn't say that word before the Fox deal that they had to share the characters, I believe. So she was technically, I forgot what the word was now, not superhuman. I'm sure it was something else that they called it. But I'm sure that they're gonna perhaps introduce mutants in the TV show. But the only thing that's on my mind is, would they rather do it in the TV show, or would they do it in a movie where they know that even more people would watch it? Because if you're talking about Disney Plus, you're talking about people signing up to Disney Plus and then watching it, or maybe finding it somehow illegally online. But otherwise, you'd rather just go to the cinema, and then once you get more people there, then introduce it. So that's what I'm a bit 50-50 about, if they are. But there was a House of M reference on the wine bottle that she was controlling, that I have seen online. I haven't looked too much into it, but you know, there could be something going on there. But I definitely do think, if it's not in this movie, if it's not in this TV show that they're going to introduce mutants, I believe the Doctor Strange movie, Multiverse of Madness, is definitely going to introduce it, because Scarlet Witch is in there as well. So I'm guessing like this TV show will set up what happens in the Doctor Strange movie, perhaps, which Marvel have done such a good job of just leaving you in suspense to want to watch the next movie. Because I remember watching Infinity War back in the cinemas, and when that ending happened, I thought, what is going to happen? And then obviously that end credit scene happened, and then we had to wait like another year for Endgame to come out, and that was basically the climax to that whole Avengers journey. But yeah, Marvel do such a good job of that, so I'm really excited actually for WandaVision. If you are into like superhero movies, like if you're not, like I'm sorry that you had to hear this first, but if you are and you're still listening, if you don't know already, Emergency Awesome, That's the name. So Emergency Awesome is a pretty cool YouTube channel that does all like breakdowns and stuff of superhero movies, TV shows and stuff. I've been watching him for years. So if you like a proper breakdown of that WandaVision trailer that just so happened to be released, you can check his channel out, because I'm just doing a very vague of my reaction. Like, he does like a proper one of every single thing that happens in the trailer, but these are just my thoughts and stuff that I think about the trailer anyway. So yeah, check him out. Again, it's called Emergency Awesome as well. So yeah, that's my reaction to WandaVision. Okay, so let's head in to the second topic, and it is called forgetting magic. And it's not what you think, actually, because initially what I'm thinking you guys think is forgetting magic. It's like, I've forgotten how to do magic. Like, when technically yes, but technically no as well. I haven't performed magic in a while now. Obviously, with what's going on in the world, all this lockdown, part 1, part 2, I don't know how many parts there are, but I don't even want to talk about that. And I know I've talked about it right at the start when I started this podcast, but maybe in a different episode, but I just don't know what's going on at the moment. So I'm best to just leave that at the side until I know what's going on, because I don't want to give out false information. But yeah, I haven't performed in a while, but I've been practicing, and I've been practicing like new stuff, but not in a sense where it's performance kind of stuff. It's kind of just for me, like card moves and not stuff that's in my normal routine. And I put up an Instagram post last week sometime, and it was about having cards on my desk, which I've got here, and it was just picking them up and just doing a certain card move just so you've got it re-jogged in your memory. And because sometimes throughout this whole period of madness from this year, I've kind of like forget, like, oh my gosh, do I remember how to do a riffle shuffle? As stupid as that sounds, I think that. And if you don't know what a riffle shuffle is, podcast listeners, I apologise if you hear a loud a riffle from the cards. I'm about to shuffle the cards, so if you got headphones on, I'd turn the sound down. But yeah, that's a riffle shuffle. So yeah, like stuff like that, just basic things. I just think in my mind, can I do that? And but yeah, you can, but it's that's not the point. The point is like a refresh in your mind, like, can I do that? And that's just based on not performing, right? And I know there's lots and lots of magicians out there that have this same problem. Obviously some magicians are taking the more of the digital path that I will talk about right at the end of this. But for magicians that love performing, especially at events or just in general, you know, to friends, you know, and even family, because sometimes you can't see your family now, and you know, it becomes quite a lonely experience, because you've got all this stuff but you can't really release it, like this magic like that you've got built up. So, and I think I have talked about this previously, and I can't remember where from, which podcast or whatever, but we're going a bit more in depth in this, and I feel like it's when you don't perform you get a little bit rusty, and it's kind of just like working out really. If you don't work out properly, you know, your form's not going to be top. You're not going to be on top form, especially when the gyms are closed. So it's kind of like in that comparison, really, that you don't have the right equipment. So for magicians, you don't just have the people there that you can, you know, you don't have that crowd. Like that's what I miss. Like a crowd. Like yes, you can go through the digital route, but it's on the other side of a screen, and I'm not complaining about that. And I'll talk more about that later. But it's just that up close experience of a stage magicians on stage and the audience experience. So yeah, it's but the key word to this is to adapt. So personally for me, I'm learning card moves, like cardistry moves, and things like that I can adapt and put in videos in the future. So I'm not necessarily doing it for performance, like live. I'm doing it for like kind of video. So I'm kind of like switching it up a little bit, the stuff that I practice, and I feel like keeping a key time limit onto what you practice is key. And I've talked about this in a podcast episode where I take a certain amount of time out of the day just to practice at least twice a day, for the rest of the week really. And with my schedule that I've got going on with the shop, it is quite hard to keep like on top of things, but I know for practice it has to be a priority, because without that I wouldn't be even on top form for like videos, let alone performance ready if the world goes back to normal. So it's always just keeping your mind refreshed of things. And I do go back to things, you know, that are like basic stuff, just so I know what's going on. So it's like stuff like a colour change as well. So basically this is a colour change. So it's kind of thinking like, what am I going to do? And it's like I've got the two of spades here, and it's like if you shake it, it changes into the 5, the red 5. So that's like a colour change. For the podcast listeners who obviously cannot see what I just did, I got a 2 of spades out of the pack, I shook it and it turned into a 5 of diamonds. So it's kind of that visual colour change right there. But it's just basic things like that refresh your memory really. And that's the advice I'd give to other magicians out there as well, or just any performer or any skill that you've got that you haven't used 100% during this year, basically, I can say, excluding January and February, I guess. Yeah, just if you had something that obviously hasn't worked out because of this year, just re-jog your memory, even 5-10 minutes a day, just so you don't forget, and just so you can keep on top. Just when this is all over and we do get back to some sort of normality, we don't have to go back to base one of learning it all again and then doing it, executing it. So yeah, so for me it's just more or less adapting and keeping it fresh for social media really, because that's all I can do at the moment really, is just record it and put it out. Obviously there's that digital aspect to it as well, which I've said many times throughout this topic that I'll get to last. But yeah, that's just my opinion on forgetting magic. And I know this was quite a narrow one that I'm talking about magicians, but this can be applied to anyone really. So yeah, just keep things refreshed, and I think that's it for this topic. I felt like I had one other thing on my mind for this topic, but I can't remember. I'll just put it in another podcast episode if I remember. But yeah, let's move on. By the way, before I move on, I've made quite a few notes. I actually went hard on this episode actually. I made quite a lot of notes. I had so much stuff to talk about actually that I haven't talked about before, but I picked the 4 that I thought, and And yeah, so I've got quite a lot for future episodes as well. So there should be no excuse really for me saying, oh, this was a last minute thing. But yeah, let's move on to Take Care by Drake, the album I'm talking about. There was actually no reason for me to put this on the topic list. The reason why I added it was because, first, this is probably my favourite Drake album. Secondly, I think this is Drake's best album. That is debatable, but that's my opinion. And third, I was actually listening to this album whilst I was writing my notes to this episode. So yeah, there's basically no reason why I put this in. I know I put the College Dropout in a couple of episodes before, or 2 or 3 episodes before, because that was such an important album to me. But Take Care, man. And it just, you know, like when you listen to songs and stuff, it takes you back, like memories and stuff like that. Take Care was out in 2011, man. 2011 was a good year. It was life was simple, man, in 2011. But anyway, I'm going a bit off topic. But yeah, it made me also think about a Magic video that I did, right? And it wasn't necessarily to the Take Care album, but it included the album cover. And it was basically, it was when Drake dropped the More Life album or playlist, whatever you want to call it, and he had his dad on the album cover. And I think I was scrolling through Instagram. I think, did he release it in 2017, something like that? So I was scrolling through Instagram anyway, and I seen somebody had created the Take Care album cover of Drake, where he's there on the table looking down, and they like photoshopped his dad on the other side of the table, like writing, I don't know, the album cover was like him writing on a notepad or something, but he photoshopped it in the Take Care album. So like they moved Drake to one side and they moved his dad to the other, and that was pretty sick actually. And I thought, why don't I just create something where I have the original Drake album and I like wave my hand or do something, and then all of a sudden his dad appears on the other side of the table. I think that would be pretty sick. And in typical Ricky fashion, I had a song in the background. It was actually the intro track of the More Life album. I can't remember, was it called Free Smoke or something like that? I can't remember what the first actual song was. I'm sure that was it. And it had this this woman on the intro, and I looked into it because I didn't want to get a copyright strike, or I didn't want the video taken down because it was at the time the album was out. So I kind of looked at the original track because he sampled quite a lot of tracks in this album or playlist. So it was actually, I think she was from Australia or something like that, and it was, I can't remember her name now, I'm so bad with names, but anyway, I found the original track and it was slightly different to the More Life track that Drake, obviously his producer, redid, but I don't think anybody actually knew the difference once I had released it. But anyway, I took that original track, put it under the magic that I was doing, and it all flowed together actually. And what I did was I had the original Drake album and I had it coming out of my wallet for some reason. Looking back on it, I don't know why I did that, but anyway, came out of my wallet, and then I held it to the camera and it was just straight there on the table, and I tapped my wallet on it, and then all of a sudden his dad appeared next to him, and I had it into that song that woman were singing, and then I had the promo bit that Drake did before he released the album right at the end, and it all flowed together, and I had More Life at the end. It was pretty sick actually, and And yeah, I remember I cut my thumb at that point as well, so I had a plaster around. So if you look closely at that video, it'll be on my Instagram somewhere. I haven't taken anything down. If you really want to dig deep into it, it'll be there somewhere. And yeah, I had a plaster on as well in that video. But yeah, that's what it reminded me of as well. But that album is a banger, by the way. So I've just got it up here on my computer. You've got like so many bangers on this album, man. Shot for Me, Headlines, Crew Love, Take Care, Marvin's Room, Underground Kings, Make Me Proud featuring Nicki Minaj, Lord Knows featuring Rick Ross, Cameras is a banger. So many, Doing It Wrong, The Real Her, Look What You Done. I'll just say the letters to that, HYFR featuring Lil Wayne, Practice the Ride, The Motto. I remember when The Motto came out, that was pretty cool. Yeah, there's so many like awesome, like that whole album's just a banger, man. So yeah, that's basically what came to mind anyway whilst I was playing that album. So I thought I'd talk about a specific video that I created as well. As you can probably tell by now that I love doing magic to music. I know I've explained in that podcast episode how much it means to me, but I just love music. So shout outs to all the music lovers out there as well. Okay, so we're 25 minutes in. I started late today. It's nearly 9 o'clock. But you know what? Let's move on to the last topic, which is digital magic. And have I talked about this before? That's the thing. I don't really look through my podcast episodes, you know. I don't rewatch them. So maybe I have talked about this, but I don't think I've talked about it properly. If I have, I'm sorry, but I'm just probably repeating it then. But I have a feeling that I haven't. So digital magic. So I was talking before about like not performing, obviously with what's going on. So a lot of magicians are making a transition, really. And don't get me wrong, like you can still perform, but it'd have to be in a very controlled environment. So obviously you'd get like your temperature taken and stuff, but it wouldn't be at any event whatsoever. I'm guessing it could be somewhere with like 15 people. You know what, I haven't even looked into it, so I could be wrong. But anyway, a lot of magicians are making the transition through performing to digital, where it's like on a Zoom call with like multiple people, and the magician's at one end of the screen and the audience is on the other end of the screen. And this is actually quite a big transition, like I've said previously, where it's that up-close experience where it's onto the other side of a screen now. So basically it's like you're watching TV, but it's live and it's to you. So it's something that I've been thinking about, and I had an interview with JB De La Cruz, the magician. Big up JB, shout outs to you, man. He invited me on his interview in July, I think, and he was asking about this for me. He was saying, have I made that transition? And I was thinking, and I said I was thinking about it, but I haven't actually done it yet. And I haven't actually done it. I've thought about it quite a lot, and I've looked into it as well. But I feel like, personally for me, you know, I'm not complaining. I do prefer performing up close, but the way that the world's going, and the world is at the moment, I feel like I'm going to have to do this sooner than later if I want to keep on top form and even keep my memory more refreshed with certain things that I do. Now, this would mean a different type of routine. It'd have to be very, very visual to the camera, and so that the audience can understand as well, because you've got to understand that it's on the other side of a screen. So let's say if there's like an audio issue, it still has to be very visual on screen so you can see it. So I've seen other magicians anyway do it, and especially like mentalists, it's really like really good for mentalists as well. Like you can do anything with mentalism really through a screen, rather than, I feel like mentalism's even better because you're not even in front of the person on like their house, you're in your house, and it's like, how did you think of what I was thinking when I'm so far away? So I'm guessing for mentalists they'll love this, but for magicians it is quite a big transition, especially like getting your sort of room set up and obviously suit on as normal and like a laptop camera, headphones perhaps. So it does take a bit more thinking to do it, but I really am considering it. So perhaps maybe for next year, if things are normal, I may have to make that switch. But we'll see what happens. And you know, working from home is a thing now, so I'm guessing, you know, it does save travel and things like that. But that's just something that's been on my mind again, if I haven't talked about this before. But yeah, we are heading towards 30 minutes, and I think we're gonna. My camera just went off for a second. Sorry about that, podcast. I think we're gonna end it here. I don't know why my camera does that. I'm gonna have to look into that. But anyway, if you enjoyed this episode, I'd really appreciate it if you liked, rated this on Apple Podcasts. When this is uploaded on YouTube subscribe to me. Everybody that listens to the podcast, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, etc., I really appreciate you. Thank you for listening. And for the YouTubers, yeah, we'll call you YouTubers. For the YouTubers, thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe to the channel. I've seen quite a lot. I've seen the data now, okay? I'm getting used to the data. Quite a lot of you are not subscribed whilst watching this, you know, or any of my content. So I really appreciate it if you subscribe. It means a lot to me. Even if you watch the podcast or any other thing, like, I don't expect you to watch everything, but subscribe. It means a lot to me. So anyway, I hope you have a great day or night wherever you are, and I'll see you all next week.